Hey everyone, Nigel and Luke here, and welcome to another edition of Crimes of the Week International.
This week, authorities in Laos announced that they had made a record-breaking drug seizure, one that the UN has called the largest ever recorded in Southeast Asia. According to reports, the drugs were discovered on a truck traveling in Bokeo province on October 27th. Hidden inside Lao brewery beer crates, police uncovered 55 million methamphetamine tablets and 1.5 metric tons of crystal meth. While Laos has been known as an active area for drug smuggling due to its location in Southeast Asia's notorious Golden Triangle, officials say they have been heating up significantly in the country in recent months. This week's bust equaled roughly 3 times the amount of meth tablets seized in the entire country of Laos last year, and close to a third of the crystal meth. Authorities say much of the recent influx of drugs into Laos in the past few months can be attributed to the coup and economic collapse in neighboring Myanmar. The country is a massive producer of illegal amphetamines, and as the political situation has continued to devolve there, countries like China and Thailand have started to firm up their shared borders with the struggling nation. This has left Laos as an attractive option for drug smugglers. Following this week's bust, the driver of the illegal amphetamine shipment was arrested, and the Lao Brewery Company issued a statement clarifying that they had no involvement in the crime whatsoever. They say that they are deeply disappointed that their crates were used to cover up illegal activities, but that the truck involved in the crime was not registered to their company.
Authorities in Melbourne, Australia say that they are searching for a mysterious hammer-wielding vandal this week after he broke into 3 different gym locations in a single night and caused more than $500,000 worth of damage to mirrors and equipment. According to reports, the crimes began around 1 a.m. on October 20th, when the unknown man first arrived at the Derrimut 24/7 gym located in Ravenhall. After breaking into the location, he disabled the building's security cameras before proceeding to smash the screens on all of the gym's cardio machines, as well as each one of the 220 mirrors hanging on the walls. After fleeing on a motorbike, he went to 2 of the gym's other locations, one in Derrimut and one in Coolaroo, and repeated the destructive crime. In total, he smashed thousands of pieces of equipment and broke at least 700 mirrors, leading to estimated damages over $500,000. According to the gym's owner, who likened the damage to a Category 5 tornado, the attack came as an extra blow because it occurred just a few days before gyms were officially allowed to open after months of forced closures. However, amazingly, he said that the devastating crime would not stop them from reopening, and that he and his staff had worked overtime to make sure that at least the Ravenhall location was stocked with new equipment and mirrors for the reopening. At the time of this recording, police have yet to make any arrests and have urged anyone with information about the suspect to come forward.
The country of Ecuador is mourning the loss of a beloved athlete this week after he was shot and killed in the port city of Guayaquil. According to reports, Olympic sprinter Alex Quinones was shot on the street in the northwest section of the city at around 9:20 on October 22nd. The crime also claimed the life of another man whose name has not yet been released. Quinones became a national hero in Ecuador in 2012 when he made it to the 200-meter final at the London Games. He finished in 7th in a race won by Usain Bolt. More recently, the 32-year-old received a bronze medal in the 200 meters at the 2019 World Athletics Championships in Doha, Qatar. At the time of this recording, much of the circumstances surrounding the shooting remain unclear. It has not been clarified whether the attack was targeted or whether Quinones was simply an innocent bystander. Though no arrests have been made, Ecuador President Guillermo Lasso vowed in a statement following the crime that the killer will not go unpunished.
Authorities in Colombia say that the nation's most powerful drug trafficker has finally been arrested this week after more than 10 years on the run. According to reports, 50-year-old Dairo Antonio Usuga, better known by the nickname Otoniel, is the leader of the country's largest criminal gang, the notorious Gulf Cartel. He has long been in the sights of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency, who had previously offered a $5 million reward for his capture. Otoniel was first indicted in the US in 2009 for importing 73 metric tons of cocaine into the country, but managed to remain on the run for years using a network of rural safe houses to move around and evade authorities. He never used phones, instead relying on couriers for communication, and stayed well away from populated areas, making him extremely difficult to track. Otoniel was finally caught at a hideout in northwestern Colombia, close to the border with Panama, after his movements were traced by more than 50 signal intelligence experts who use satellite imagery. US and UK intelligence agencies were reportedly involved in the search. The actual arrest happened during a raid at Otoniel's hideout, a massive operation involving 500 soldiers and 22 helicopters. One police officer was killed during the raid. Colombian President Iván Duque called the operation the biggest blow against drug trafficking in our country this century, saying it was comparable to the fall of Pablo Escobar in the 1990s. However, many have pointed out that Otoniel was nowhere near as infamous as Escobar, and not widely known outside of Colombia. It has also been noted that the period leading up to Escobar's death was punctuated by far more widespread fear and attacks directed at the public. Otoniel is now awaiting extradition to the United States, where he will face trial for his 2009 indictments as well as numerous other crimes.
Representatives from the Thames Valley Police say that a 39-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of numerous offenses this week after he allegedly caused serious damage to another man's vehicle and home using a forklift. According to reports, police were alerted to the incident at approximately 8:35 on October 23rd when they received calls from members of the public telling them that a man had been seen engaging in dangerous activity with a JCB forklift in the hamlet of Studley Green. The 39-year-old suspect allegedly used the forklift to pick up a parked 4x4 vehicle and then had proceeded to ram it into the side of a nearby house. Understandably, the bizarre crime caused serious damage to both the vehicle and the house, though thankfully no one inside was injured. Both the car and house belonged to the same victim. By the time police arrived at the scene, the suspect had fled in the forklift. He was quickly tracked down and after a short pursuit was arrested on nearby Oak Ridge Road. According to police, numerous additional cars were damaged during the chase. The 39-year-old man was arrested on charges of criminal damage to endanger life, theft, criminal damage, and other road-related offenses. While no motive behind the crime has been provided at the time of this recording, police say that the victim and the suspect know each other. Police are currently asking for anyone who witnessed the bizarre crime to come forward with any information they might have.
Authorities in Montego Bay, Jamaica say that they are investigating the disturbing murders of 2 people this week, after a church was raided while allegedly performing human sacrifices. According to reports, police were first alerted to the crimes taking place at the Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries on October 17th, when a woman came to them and said that she had been stabbed as part of a ritual there. When officers arrived at the scene, a shootout took place, during which one person was killed. Inside, police found 2 dead bodies, a man who had died of gunshot wounds and a woman whose throat had been slashed. The man's name has yet to be released, but the second victim has been identified as 39-year-old Tanika Gardner. At least 3 other people were hospitalized with life-threatening injuries, and police also found a group of animals and naked men that they believe were due to be killed next in the ritual. Authorities say that the chilling events were orchestrated by the church's preacher, Kevin O. Smith, a self-proclaimed prophet who recently began telling his congregants that a massive deadly flood was about to sweep in. Before the ritual, he wrote on Facebook that the Ark was leaving, and instructed his followers to leave their homes and come to the church dressed in white. Congregants, including Tanika, had reportedly been preparing for the flood for weeks, stocking up on things like rice, kerosene, and cooking oil to bring with them on Smith's imaginary ark. Following the raid on the church, Smith and more than 40 of his congregants were arrested. Smith was later recorded in police custody saying that he was the fountain of life, and came to his congregation as Jonah the Warner. In a final bizarre turn in the case, Smith was killed in a car crash on October 25th while being transported by police from Montego Bay to Kingston. According to reports, the vehicle carrying him overturned sometime during the journey, killing him and a police officer. At least 2 other officers were seriously injured in the crash. At the time of this recording, no further details are available about the accident, and investigators are still working to determine how it happened.
Authorities in the Indian state of Rajasthan say that a private school teacher has been arrested and is facing charges this week after he allegedly beat one of his grade 7 students to death. According to reports, the incident took place in the village of Salazar on October 20th. At approximately 9:15 a.m. that morning, the teacher, a man named Manoj Kumar, called the parents of the 13-year-old victim to report that their son was unconscious. Kumar claimed that the teenager had failed to complete his homework, and that's why he had received the beating. While on the phone, the father of the 13-year-old asked Kumar whether he had killed his son, to which he allegedly replied, "He's pretending to be dead." However, when the teenager's parents arrived at the school, they soon learned that things were much worse than they had been described. The other students seemed terrified and said that the unconscious victim had been mercilessly punched and beaten with sticks. The parents also claimed that for 2 weeks leading up to the attack, their son had complained 4 or 5 times that his teacher was beating him for no reason. Sadly, shortly after arriving at the hospital, the boy was declared dead by doctors. Kumar has since been arrested by police and has now been charged with murder.
This week, authorities in Japan's Hiroshima prefecture announced that they had solved the more than 20-year-old cold case murder of a 35-year-old woman, and that their investigation had led to the arrest of the alleged killer. According to reports, the 35-year-old victim was killed in an attack in her home in Fukuyama around 12:45 p.m. on February 6, 2001. She died from stab wounds to her abdomen from a fruit knife that was used by the suspected killer. Though the woman has not been identified by name, it is said that she was married and had 2 young children. Though police released photos of the murder weapon and were able to determine the kind of shoes the killer wore thanks to bloody footprints left at the crime scene, these were both mass-produced items that failed to produce significant leads. It also seemed that no one had witnessed the crime or had seen anything suspicious in the area, and the case eventually went cold. However, this month, investigators were finally able to find a DNA match to blood evidence discovered at the scene of the crime. Testing revealed that the blood belonged to a 67-year-old man named Kozo Takamori, who was subsequently arrested on October 25th. Though police now believe that they have the man responsible for the heinous crime, at the time of this recording, it appears that they are still trying to uncover the motive behind it. Reports offer contradictory information, with some stating that Takamori did not know the victim, while others say that he may have become acquainted with her while doing some landscaping work at her house shortly before the murder. The investigation continues. That brings us to the end of this edition of Crimes of the Week International. If you're a fan of the new series, don't forget to tell us in the comment section below. While you're there, make sure to subscribe to Crime Zone for more true crime content like this, making sure to hit the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest videos. Thank you for watching.